I'm Dorothy Weems. I play Karen in The Atoning.
And an awesome Karen. Hello, I'm Michael LaCour. I play Ray in the film. I'm also one of the producers.
Hi, I'm Cannon Bosarge. I was Sam in The Atoning.
And Deb.
I'm Virginia Newcomb. I play Vera.
Michael Williams. I'm the writer and director of The Atoning.
And
I guess.
And the editor.
Oh, and the editor.
And
the DP, I guess.
Can we talk about that? You literally do everything in this film. I mean,
Not everything.
But you're behind the camera, you edited it. I mean, that must have been, I know you've done that in a lot of your films, so can you talk about that process and just having full control in that sense?
Right. So with the budgets we're working with right now, we gotta make the most of what we have, and one way you can do that is by a lot of people wearing a lot of hats. So it's not just me wearing a lot of hats; other people are doing that too, and it's it may not work for every film, but at least for our film, it worked because we were able to work really fast, and one decision could be made for 3 departments because I was handling those 3 departments, so we could make sure that we were all on the same page and we didn't have to we could move fast and move efficiently because of that. And it keeps a unified vision, so we're all kind of on the same page and we know what we're going for, and hopefully it shows in the final product.
Now, the house itself, that came from a producer.
Right.
What was that like, being able to shoot in someone's comfortable home and also here in Mississippi?
Right. The house that we shot in was owned by Joni Seitz and Bob Seitz. They're from West Point, Mississippi. And I just put a thing on Facebook saying I was looking for an old, Victorian-style house that we could shoot in their area. And Joni came on Facebook and said, hey, we have this house, it's a 140-year-old Victorian house, and it was a block from my house. So I walked over and looked at it. And, in my head, I had an imaginary house that I had written. And this house was 80-90% in the layout that I had written the script. So it was perfect. We didn't have to change a whole lot. And it just suited the technical and logistical part of the filming too, because we had rooms that we could house cast and crew and get them out of the way, and it flowed and worked so well. So
what's it like being able to world premiere it here in Mississippi and not have to go somewhere else? You're getting to do it right here in front of family and friends.
Yeah, well, Oxford has been a great festival for me since 2008. That was the first time I screened here. So it's been nice to come back year after year with the film. We're just supporting other films, and being able to premiere The Atoning at the Oxford, it's a great festival, but it also means a lot to me because it's a festival that's supported me so much over the years. So the fact that we can all make a film in Mississippi and then premiere it in Mississippi at one of the top film festivals in Mississippi, it means a lot to us to feel that homegrown, home spirit, independent film, support that we have here.
I guess let's meet the family.
Yeah.
Vera, if you will. What attracted you to this role? Because this is an interesting family that's obviously dealing with personal demons from their past. It's a very thought-provoking film in that sense.
Well, we met last year at this festival. It was my first year at the festival, which I love this festival, and mutual admirers of each other's work. So then he reached out to me about this character and asked me to audition, and it took me a long time because I was really busy and I felt horrible. And then I auditioned. They were like, "Yeah, we want you." I'm like, "Okay, good. Sorry," but it's very challenging because I've steered away from victim characters for a long time, and we talked about this, and I wanted to honestly and humanly portray her, because victims exist, right? I think they're sometimes written as tropes in movies, but we talked about making her someone who we can understand her trauma, and so that there's so many layers to that, and to navigate through the story of which you don't want to let the audience in on all the pieces was an interesting challenge. It's interesting to kind of develop your arc within those layers, because some of it's really technical. You just kind of got to keep a secret. So all of those challenges are what drew me to it. I wanted to humanize her, and I wanted to be able to think technically while also being able to perform emotionally within it.
What was it like getting to know that side of the family and getting introduced to them?
They're all dorks. I mean, this guy's a producer, so there's the...
You had to like me.
I didn't have to like you, but I did. And I mean, but in that situation, there's the business conversations, and then there's okay, we got to play husband and wife, and there's then all the layers in the story. So I actually think it helped us. I think it helped us that you were we had to go business, and then we had to go actor, and it gave us a lot of layers because we had to work through that as people.
Because we weren't.
Why are you smiling at me?
We weren't planning on going SAG. I mean, that was not really in our and when we saw her audition, it was just like, we have to go SAG. We have to have her. She's a difference maker, and we wanted her, and it was so worth going through that process to have Virginia, so without question.
Thanks. But yeah, these guys are great. I mean, they elevated everything. When you have actors that you can play with, goof around with.
Well, speaking of the goofball, he's probably the most familiar with you guys. He's worked with you before. What's it like working again with him on a much bigger film and, having a very significant role in this film?
Well, it was a great experience because my first film that I did was with him, actually. It was Kane, and I was about 8 years old, and I went on for like 30 minutes, did a shoot, and it really drew me into acting experience, and it was great because I got asked to audition for this, and I got to step back a little bit and then come back for this film with Michael, and it was great.
How much fun was it to film here and be in that really cool house? Because I think the house is its character into itself.
It was almost a surreal experience because I got to drive like an hour and a half from where I live in Jackson, and I got to ride around in bikes with my dad, and we got to play songs, and it was really a fun experience.
Learned to juggle.
And I learned to juggle. Juggled all around the set.
Our house, where we were staying was the same, so we were like, we got to wake up and
It was really.
we totally pretended the whole time. It was my son. I cooked him breakfast. I had never cooked you breakfast. That's such a lie. We had fun.
We did.
They did bike to set. That was pretty sweet.
Yeah.
I didn't. I drove.
Well, I guess, Michael, a question for you. Because as a producer, you also, you helped in the casting process. You've been kind of integral in this whole process. What were you looking for once you realized that, you had your actress and your actor? What else what drew you to be in the role, I guess, be the question.
What drew me into my role?
Yeah.
Well, that was part of the development of the film just from the very beginning. With Michael writing, Michael's probably a better person to answer that question because we were in the process of working on another film and, developing another film, but there was more involved in that film, and we wanted to do something. So that's sort of how we got started on the Atoning. Was we wanted to a one location shoot, something that we could do while we were still trying to develop another film. I'm not sure if that answered your question or not.
Well, that's pretty, yeah.
Okay.
Also, being able to have multiple hats on the film, when did you know to switch? When did you need to go business? How did you know when to switch like that?
Boy, I don't think you know when. I think it finds you. You know what I mean? But in all honesty, Virginia and Cannon are just awesome actors. This was such a privilege for me to be with them. Dorothy, our cast was just amazing. It really, really was. I am so proud of that cast because everybody just stood out, and it was just the perfect person in every little spot that we could find. And so I was just trying to keep up with them. And the production side, Michael's a hard worker, so it certainly made me become a much harder worker to keep up with him, and we wanted to create something very quickly, so we had to switch really quickly from this to this, and it just worked. And like Michael said earlier, that everybody had their jobs and they just did them well, and because we were in charge of multiple areas in the film, we didn't have to go through a bunch of people to get things done. He had his side that he was in control of. I had my side of the film that I was in control of, and we just trusted each other to do that stuff, and it just worked flawlessly, really.
Well, I guess, Dorothy, a question to kind of throw it outside the box. Being on set, what was the atmosphere like? What type of atmosphere? For those that don't know Michael's setup, what was the atmosphere on set? How did he approach the filming?
Well, first of all, can you hear me?
Yeah, definitely.
It spoiled me. And I have to be careful not to try to compare every other job to this, but it spoiled me. There's something about Michael, his work ethic, his character, his just his spirit. He loves people, he loves his work. And everything about it was a safe environment, a happy environment. And then we had the producers, Joni Sites, made it hospitable. You always felt if you needed anything, it was there. And as far as the working with a cast where everyone was on point, everyone felt right, and a crew that was just, everything was perfect. I would almost say perfect. I shouldn't say perfect, but I'll say perfect. I enjoyed it very much. And for my role as Karen, which it's a pivotal role, and to avoid spoilers, that's all I can say about that. But the filming, let me just say, the filming of a particular scene was an especially intense, earth-shaking, and glorious, though chilling experience. And to do that kind of work, it was an all-nighter. It was a pleasure. I never lost energy. I never lost interest. And Michael made it all work beautifully. And I felt completely secure and trusting as an actor.
It was so perfect, too. I mean,
Say that louder.
Your scene, I mean, in all honesty, like how I drew up when we were putting the script together, it was exactly, she did it exactly how I saw it in my head before, it was just, it really, to me, was special. It really was. It was really special.
Well, may I add that in my role that Michael wrote, a lot of people would have written something stereotypical. Mm-hmm. And she had depth and layers and a history and a backstory, and I could just feel it in the script when I read it. And and I'll go on and on, you'll probably have to edit me out. But I have a kind of a kinship with Sarah Bernhardt's feeling on acting, not particularly her values of performance, but on her philosophy. She wanted to go out to the edge of reality and look over and take the audience with her, and that's what Michael Williams does. And he wrote my character to be able to do that.
I guess the last question, I know you guys are in a little bit of a hurry. Getting to have the world premiere here, can you talk about that? And then you guys are going to Magnolia, if I'm not mistaken, next. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, this is technically our world premiere. The first time we're going to have a really unbiased audience, a festival audience that we can really gauge what people think of the film, because that's, we want to know what people think. So the fact that we can do that here in Mississippi with the audience that, is going to really dictate what hopefully the rest of our screenings will be an experience of, And we will be going to the Magnolia Film Festival. We're the closing night film that Saturday night, March 4th. Then we're also doing a screening in Meridian, Mississippi in March, and then another one in Huntsville in April. And then hopefully some more festivals after that.
Well, guys, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I love the film. Thank you, guys.
Awesome. Thank you so much.